Hi there, I'm Stana. Some of you might know me as Pine. That's my nature name. I love pine trees. They're Ontario's tallest tree. I always joke that I'm usually the shortest, but they have great medicine in them as well. And I find that a lot of people are drawn to forests, maybe lakes, but they don't always take time to enjoy the wetlands. And I think wetlands are so incredible, and they're really important habitats to pay attention to. Now you're probably wondering why I have my pillow here. And yes, sometimes people have found me in the forest laying down having a rest, but this pillow represents that wetlands really offer important resting grounds, migratory stopovers for different bird species. They're really, really important places for many animals. And often we think of the large ones, but for tiny ones, thinking of dragonflies, damselflies, all the tiny little beings that live in them as well. And so our wetlands not only provide places for resting, nesting, migratory stopovers. I have something else, and I'm going to show you this sponge, and I'm wondering, now that you might get where I'm going here, I wonder what this sponge might represent for thinking about a wetland habitat. And you probably often hear about Cataraqui conservation. We have amazing announcements letting us know about flood forecasting and drought. And so hopefully that's giving you a bit of a hint. Hopefully you thought of the sponge and wetlands as being places that can act as sponges to retain water in drought conditions, or when there's lots of flooding, they can help to absorb the water just like a sponge would. Okay, bear with me. I have two more little things. Here we go. So we have a little sippy cup here. I wonder what a sippy cup would represent when we're thinking about a wetlands. And if you are thinking young, yes, they're amazing places for many species to grow, to live, to have their young. And many animals require a wetland habitat to have their babies. Maybe even where you've been wandering around, you've noticed lots of geese. The geese are out and about, and they're calling, and they're establishing their nesting areas. And without wetland habitats, they wouldn't have a place to live. We think of the turtles. There's so many different animals that we can name. So another reason why protecting our wetland habitats is really important. Okay, one more. So I have my old, don't worry, I don't really use this strainer, but this strainer, what do you think it represents? If you think about straining and filtering out any toxins, you might notice one of my dear friends, the cattail. I love cattails. The cattails let us know that we're actually in a marsh wetland habitat. There's 4 different types of wetlands in Ontario, and we have a lot of marshlands in around our watershed. And so cattails are amazing at filtering out toxins and helping keep our wetland areas really clean and helping out animals as well. So that was just a little bit about one of my dear habitats that I so love to come to. So before you bust on by heading to the forest or focusing on the lake, maybe take a little time to notice the wetland. And if you're really still, you might start to hear some of the different animals. Maybe some frogs. Maybe you'll see a turtle sunning itself. Who knows? There might be a red-winged blackbird that comes out of its nest to scold you for being there. So if you just allow yourself to take some time to notice these things, it's amazing what might pop out at you. You know, I often love to watch the frogs, and I've been hearing them lately. If you see one, I'll ask, instead of picking it up, just noticing them. Their skin is so fragile, and with us putting on lots of sanitizer and sunscreen and all sorts of things, it can be really harmful if we pick them up. So I prefer to watch them and see what they do. If I ever have to help a frog, I make sure my hands are clean, and I actually put mud gloves on. Yes, I stick my